what's going on, people? Welcome to the Football Fan Forum Lounge, and we're here to talk about what happened in week 3. And just want to say, hey, what's going on, Ian? Didn't see you last week.
No. I had a night off, and actually I'm glad I didn't have to do predictions, because I'd probably predicted our scoreline completely the opposite way around. So I was quite glad to have a night off and come back this week. Smiling Excellent. For a change.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. Tony, how are you, mate? On mute. Tony, can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear me. You're on mute. Let's see. Yeah, we can't hear you at the moment, Tony. Yeah, we can't hear at the moment. So while Tony works on his audio, we'll move to the other Tony. Tony, how you been, bro?
What's up, people? What's up? Yeah, it's been a good week, bad week, depending which bit of it you were talking about. You know, start of the week, bit of a shoddy result, but then reversed it, and yeah, I'm feeling confident in what we're looking forward to for this weekend.
Excellent, Drew. How you been? We missed you last week, bro.
Well, the last week hasn't actually happened in football, so.
I hear you, man. I absolutely hear you. Right, so guys, we've finished with week 3, and let's run through these results.
I'll tell you what, Apollo, if I just stop you for 1 second, breaking news from Liverpool, it's now official. Sadio Mane has tested positive.
Oh, so that's why
that's on the official Liverpool account as of about 2 minutes ago. So
so that's why he didn't play yesterday against Arsenal.
Yep.
How comes?
So that's now official. So
yeah, we can hear you, Tom.
To see.
Yeah, we can hear. Yeah, we can hear you, Tony. Yeah.
Cool.
Something. Mane's got COVID. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. The question is who was he around?
It worries
been to America.
All of them.
It worries me that TAA wasn't in the squad either in the middle of the week. So, but there's nothing been mentioned about him. Nothing been mentioned about him yet. So, we're assuming he's okay.
I don't think they would have played against Arsenal anyway. I don't think they would have played anyway.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, Salah played, and a couple of other guys were there.
Van Dijk started.
Yeah,
so
he wouldn't have started. I couldn't see them starting.
So guys,
how players, like one player right in the middle of a team gets it and the rest don't. It's happening sporadically all over the place, right?
Yeah.
We lost what, Diop and Cullen, didn't we, along with Moyes a couple of weeks ago, and they're all sort of clear now and back in selection for tomorrow, I think. So
if anything, it knocks them out for 2 weeks, and then they're back up and running. But for Liverpool, that's crucial because people are saying Mane is the best player in the league at the moment.
You'll be right.
Yeah, man, it's a shame he wasn't missing on Monday when they played Arsenal. Man,
listen, we need him.
Yeah, for real. Let's get right into it, guys. First result we're going to talk about is Brighton 2, Man United 3, and this was a ridiculous. How many times did Brighton hit the woodwork? I mean, Brighton could have been up 3-0, 4-0 before half time, and somehow United gets a penalty in the 100th minute. 100th. Talk about Fergie time.
After the final whistle.
Oh, I don't. First of all, I don't even get it. I mean, all these 21 penalties in 25 games, guys. What is going on? Anyway, you can see I went for 1-1, and really Brighton should have won the game. Ian, what was your thoughts on this one? Did you get that one right or wrong?
To be honest, I would have gone for a Man United win, but a slight one, probably a 2-1 or something like that. But my thoughts as a Trossard owner in fantasy football when he hit the post for the 3rd time were unmentionable, needless to say. But yeah, I mean, you're right to mention about Man United's penalties, but it was a penalty. And I mean, I think it was just the timing of it was unfortunate. The fact the ref had actually blown for full time, and then VAR went, "Hang on, have a look at this." But it was a penalty, and I mean, the thing with Man United's front three, you know, sort of Greenwood, Rashford, Martial, they're all such skillful, tricky players in the box. They get fouled. And, you know, you could say one or two. I mean, Bruno's a bit of a tinker, isn't he, for falling over? But the vast majority of penalties they've been given are legitimate penalties. I mean, it's... You know, there is this big league, you know, the idea that there's this big club bias and everything like that, and Man United specifically. But I think when you analyse the penalties, most of them have been legit, or the vast majority. So, you know, fair play to them for converting them and taking advantage of them.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of penalties that they get is just bonkers. Tony, where did you see this one going?
Yeah, I thought Man U were going to win it. But I tell you, it was tight. I was listening to it on the radio. I didn't watch it. I was listening to it. And Brighton deserves at least a point. I think with Manchester United with the penalties, it's like most of the best teams. The best teams will get the most penalties because they'll be in the box more than the others. And I think it was right to give the penalty. People are saying that it was after the whistle went, but it happened while the game was in process.
Yeah,
you know. So while the game's in process, that's when it's happened, and then they can look back at it. If it was like the whistle went and then someone kicked it and someone handballed it on the line, that's totally different. But it was within the game time, so I was right to give a penalty. But Man U, their front three, they're good. They move around, but they haven't got someone prolific who's going to get 25 to 30 goals a season.
Yeah, I got to admit, I had Martial and Jimenez in my strike force with Danny Ings. Well, Jimenez and Martial have been dropped. They're gone. I got rid of them because there's not them guys. They're not at the races at the moment.
You got rid of Jimenez before Fulham.
I got rid of Jimenez. Yeah,
before they played Fulham.
Yeah, I had to, man. He's done enough.
You know what? I waited till after that game.
No, you know, I put Harry Kane in there. I already had Song in my team. I decided to put Harry Kane in there because he's just more reliable. But I had to ditch him, and I had to get rid of... Losing Martial hurt me. It hurt me. I'm not going to...
You hurt yourself now. Harry Kane's got a suspension, hasn't he?
Oh, don't tell me that. This is why I'm shit at fantasy football.
That were the rumours, weren't they? That he got sent off after the final whistle or something, wasn't it? In the cup game. But it was some club, some assistant manager or something got the red card instead. I think it was after the Caribou Cup game. Yeah. It
was bonkers. And anyway, listen, Tony Cox, domination here for Brighton. 18 shots to Man United 7.
Yeah.
5 shots on target to 3 shots on target, and 7 corners. United had 1 corner in the whole game.
Yeah, and they played them again, right?
Yeah.
And again, Brighton outshot Man United, even although they lost again. So clearly, you know, it comes down to who's got the better strikers. You know, because you know, even though Brighton created way more chances, they just weren't finishing their chances, and they were getting close, but you still got to finish those chances. You know, I feel sorry for him, but, you know, it is the proverbial story of teams that come up who don't have a proven goal finisher, and they will get found out because, you know, you've got to take your chances in this league.
It does solidify the fact that Brighton are a really good team. I bet you was pissed off with this result, Drew, being a City fan.
I mean, I've never seen a player hit the woodwork as many times as what I saw Trossard hit the woodwork. He could try that in training every day of the week, and he is not going to do that again. It was unbelievable. But some of the game, it was just beautiful football though from Brighton. Now I criticised them on the first show of the season. And I said they're going to go down. I thought they were going to be struggling. I'm happy to be proven wrong. They're playing some beautiful football, and they should have beaten United.
Yeah, but I totally agree. I mean, I've never had a bad thing to say about them because you know they've done the double over Arsenal last season. So if anyone talks to me about Brighton, you're going to get nothing but respect from me. As an Arsenal fan, I am humbled in the face of Brighton. There's no two ways about it. So, guys, we move on to Crystal Palace, Everton. Now, Crystal Palace the week before turned over Man United 3-1, and Everton are the real deal. By the way, I reached out to an Everton YouTuber called Rose. She couldn't join us today, but she said she's going to join us next week. So I can't wait for that. I'm quite excited. That will be our first girl on the show. Red Max, you can see I got this score perfectly right. My score is in the bracket there on the right-hand side, 2-1. Where did you have this one?
Very good. I'd probably have gone similar because Palace are a strange old team. They're just so well managed. And considering the injuries they've got at the back, they've been surprisingly tight this season. And they managed to hold, previously an absolute rampant Everton team. So, I mean, both teams come out looking pretty good out of this, I think. I mean, it will be very interesting to see how Palace go away to Chelsea this week because Chelsea are completely all at sea. They've still got their injuries, so Palace could easily spring a surprise this weekend as well. And I think Everton are just going to carry on their merry way. They've obviously got a problem now with Allen being out, so they're likely to possibly concede a little bit more. They haven't got that rigidity in defensive midfield anymore for a couple of weeks. But yeah, no, I think a fair result, judging by the way the game went.
And another thing, Tony, we were all talking about the legitimacy against Palace's win over Man United. This result pretty much humbled them. Is this what you expected from there? Where did you have this one going?
Yeah, I'd have said Everton were favourites for this one because Calvert-Lewin, he's on fire at the moment. Again, what Tony was saying about having a striker, is a difference at the moment. So he's putting the goals in for Everton. Before, they never had. Last season, he was doing a bit, but he wasn't doing as much now. And you can see the difference by having someone who can put the ball in net. What a difference that makes. That can make a 1-1 into a 2-1 into the 3-1. So,
and as you said,
Everton looking good at the moment.
They're looking tight. I'm looking at my fantasy team now. I actually thought I put Calvert-Lewin in there, but I've just realised in order to afford Harry Kane, I had to bring in Morpay as my striker. So my strikers are Kane, Ince, and Morpay. That's my strike force at the moment. And Ian can tell you my team is doing absolute shit at the moment. But that's because of week one. I mean, I've been okay otherwise.
I think the expression is no change there, mate. To be honest.
Tony, where did you see this one going? Did you have it?
This was a bit of a difficult one because of Palace's great result against Old Trafford. You kind of, I've got a soft spot for Palace, always have done since Vince Hilaire days. So I kind of always look out and hope that they get a result. But I'm also wary that Everton are going to be a force this year, and they proved it. Calvert-Lewin, as Tony alluded to, is looking good. I wonder what would happen if he picks up an injury because do they have strength in depth? But I think if they could be like a good Leicester or a good Wolves in that, first 11 is going to compete with any team.
I think so. Drew, where did you see this one going? Are you concerned about Everton at this point? I know I am.
See, when we've done predictions at the start of the season, Everton were right on the cusp, along with Arsenal, to be fair, of they're going to be in or around the top four area. So far, I think Everton looked like the most likely team from outside the top four last year to break into it. And to be honest, they look better than United, they look better than Chelsea. So they could be looking third if this isn't just early season form from them. But Calvert-Lewin's, I liked him a lot last season, especially after Ancelotti came in. This season, his link-up plays better, his running in behind's better, his movement. I mean, he is the real deal for a young English striker right now.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So he's exciting.
Absolutely.
And is that where? Do you think Everton are going to challenge for the top four?
I think they could be looking third or fourth this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got to think about Leicester. You got to think about Everton. Not sure if we can say Wolves. Wolves has started very Yeah, up and down.
They'll be there.
Yeah, West
Wolves
Ham.
always start off slow. Wolves always start off slow.
The West Ham took them to the sword, man. They put them to the sword. So, guys, this result right here, West Brom 3-3. You can see I actually had the correct amount of goals for Chelsea, but after seeing West Ham play West Brom, and West Brom, obviously the game beforehand, you don't know which West Brom's going to turn up. Ian, where did you have this one?
I did 3-1 to Chelsea. So, yeah, I mean, got the Chelsea score right, but nowhere near the West Brom result. I mean, they just caught them napping, didn't they? I mean, it might change this week now. Now they've picked up Mendy, and they're going to have, in theory, a solid goalkeeper, which will hopefully give, for the Chelsea defence, it'll hopefully give them that sort of peace of mind. Whereas the first 3 games of this season, the Chelsea defenders are just panicking about what's going on behind them, with Kepa and again with Caballero at the weekend. It's been a little bit of a lottery, so hopefully that'll start to settle down. But also up front, they're almost like the anti-Everton this year, whereas Everton brought in the new faces, and like we were saying on that first programme we did, it's going to depend with Everton and with Chelsea how quickly all these new faces fit in. Everton hit the ground running in week 1, and they've looked phenomenal. Chelsea have looked all at sea. Admittedly, they've had injuries up there, so Pulisic hasn't been playing. I can't remember the other chap who came in, but they've been too short up front, and they've been having to play people in the wrong positions. For example, Werner not up front against West Brom, who ended up playing all over the pitch by the end of the game as they brought on attackers instead of defenders. So I think you get the impression Lampard potentially is getting found out as a manager or as a tactical coach.
And haven't I always been saying that? What have I said from day one? I said,
and the thing is, now now Abramovich has opened his wallet, and Lampard now doesn't have an excuse. He's now got to come up with results, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they go once they're back to sort of full strength after the international break. And Pulisic apparently is going to be on the bench at the weekend, so. Once they're back after the international break, it'll be interesting to see how they actually gel, if they actually gel. But I think if they're still looking this dodgy by the time we hit sort of mid-November, Frank's job could potentially be on the hot seat.
Yeah, I think he could be the first manager that goes. I really do. You don't spend 200 million to not finish in the top 4 or even challenge for the title. They've got so many players now. Werner played, Havertz played last week, Kante played, Mount played last week. You've got all this talent on display, and you go to West Brom and you can't get the 3 points. It's not championship winning form. Tony, what's your thoughts on this one? Did you get it right?
No, if I got it right, I won't be here. I'll be on a jet plane going somewhere. No. Look, Chelsea's defence were all over the place. I think the problem with Chelsea at the moment, last season they had sort of a system where you can see what they're trying to do. It seems like they've got 11 players on the pitch and they're just all running around. When I look at Chelsea, I can't tell you what they are. They counter-acting team? Are they a pressing team? I couldn't tell you what they are. And what Frank has to do is he's got to get 11 players. He's got to get a system and then fit the players into. At the moment, he's just got 11 players and he ain't got any system. So that's what he needs to do. Defensively, if you look at their back four, they're not bad players. It just seems that I don't know who their defensive coach is. I don't know who it is, but they just seem all over the place. Kante is supposed to be a holding midfielder, but he's not holding at the moment. He's not holding anything.
Yeah.
So I think Chelsea's got the players, and I think they'll come good. What Frank has to do is get a system and then get the players to fit into it. At the moment, he's just got 11 players running all over the place.
Yeah, I spoke to my Chelsea friend today, Danny Simpson, and he said that they should have played Rudiger. I mean, they played Christensen, Silva, James and Alonso at the back as a back four. I just think, look, you can do whatever you want. As long as Lampard's in there, they're going to be tactically inept. And to a point, there's the same problem that Solskjaer is having at Man United. Arsenal, for all accounts, doesn't have a great team, but they're punching above their weight with what Arteta's doing. And you need these guys punching above their weight. If this team can punch above their weight, they're challenging Liverpool and they're challenging Man City. Tony, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, this was I enjoyed this game. There's so much football now on a Saturday and a Sunday. You know, you can literally like go through the whole day just watching football, and then obviously for guys like ourselves who like the American stuff, you know, we've got the NBA finals and the NFL. But this was a game I stumbled across because when West Brom were 2-0 up, I was like, oh, hang on a second. This is interesting. But, you know, the thing was, West Brom were getting peppered with shots. I mean, if you look at the stats, I think Chelsea were like 22 shots to 8. You know, so it was very heavily weighed in Chelsea's favour. But Tony's absolutely right. What it was like watching the Houston Rockets, where you've got individuals doing their individual thing, but they're not playing as a team. So they've got great individuals, but they're not a team yet. And I think this is where Arteta differs to Lampard. Arteta is saying, I'm not willing to just put pieces into the puzzle without them actually knowing how the jigsaw fits. Whereas Lampard's ethos is, I'm just going to throw them all in. They've got to work it out. But they've got no system.
It just shows that, for me anyway, that Kepa has been made a scapegoat. You know, last week it was his mistake and it was his fault. And then what did they do the week after? They go and let 3 goals in. I mean, let's remember, let's move to Drew. Let's remember, Drew, after 55 minutes, Chelsea were 3-0 down. They were 3-0 down.
Yeah. So I'm now in my head just trying to work out who's Westbrook and who's Harden. I mean, the whole performance overall was inept. And you could actually make the keeper the responsibility again here, because Caballero, bless him, he's a trier. But he's a donkey, quite frankly. So I'm glad that Chelsea have gone out and got a new keeper, because it might save me some points in Dream Team now with my Chelsea defenders. But yeah, I mean, they Chelsea were peppering the goal, but it was all aimless. Most of the performance, it was just aimless, nothing from them.
Yeah, I mean, let's talking about now.
Interesting statistic, Apollo. Chelsea played 5 games this season, won 2, lost 2, drawn 1.
Ooh, okay. I think they're going to struggle. I'm just waiting for the ball to drop on Chelsea. It's Frank. And they're going to come to realise that soon. I wish him all the best because he's a British manager. But when I studied the FA Cup final, Arsenal versus Chelsea, hard. And the first thing I said to you guys at the beginning of the game was, I said, Mikel Arteta is going to outcoach this guy. And what happened? He just outcoached him. Look, when you see what Klopp did to Arsenal, and we're going to come to that anyway, Liverpool, Arsenal, but it's all about tactics. If your manager doesn't set you up right, if he doesn't watch the game, if he doesn't play chess, this is what head coaches do in the NFL. They play chess with each other, and the players are the chess pieces. And in football's becoming like that now. Football's becoming a game of chess. And if somebody's doing something to you and you can't stop it, you're going to get blown out. And if you don't understand it, that's a different level. And I think football's getting like that now. Football's getting so technical. And there are just some managers who are sort of stuck in the old ways. You know, formation's got to be this, and this is what we got to do, and let's keep a level head. That's not good enough right now. It's a technical game. As you can see here, I went for 1-1 with Burnley, and it was kind of Southampton just doing what they do. Again, Danny Ings. Where did you see this one, Ian?
I would have got that one bang on, to be honest. It struck me it was a game. I thought Southampton were going to win against Spurs in game week 2, and of course that all went completely tits up. So I think Southampton needed to make a statement. They needed to stop the rot and just get a result by whichever means possible. Hasenhüttl changed his tactics slightly. They got the early goal with Ings and essentially shut up shop. I think Ings only had the one shot all game, which is a very un-Southampton-like performance. And I think you'll see them reverting to type this weekend. Of course, they're up against the most porous defence in Premier League history. I think I'm right in saying in West Brom they've conceded more goals than anyone in the first 3 games in since they started recording stats or something. So I think you'll see a return to the Southampton we got used to at the tail end of last year when everything was clicking. Now they've got their win. They've got that under their belt. The pressure is off to a certain extent. I can't see Southampton doing a Chelsea, if you like, and being 3-0 down after half an hour. I think we'll now see a return to form from the Saints. Burnley did what Burnley do. You know, they normally play tight games. Most of Burnley's games are decided by a goal here or there. They're going to be good defensively, but they're not going to be overpowering up top. You know, again, they've got a good fixture coming up this weekend, so you'd expect, you know, especially with Newcastle's injuries at the back, you'd expect Burnley to get a result. I think these two teams are both going to be good, solid, mid-table teams going forward, but it was good to see Southampton sort of get off the schneid.
Yeah, totally agree. Sayed is saying, I have no idea how Arsenal didn't get a penalty against Liverpool. It was a lot more than that, mate. Red cards, handballs, the whole lot. Springer is saying, percentage football is chess now. Totally agree, my brother. It's good to see you in the chat as well, Springer. We got to link up, man. We got to link up, bro. Cool K saying, lump it forward on my head, Burnley. Keep it on the ground, content at the start, Southampton. Good to see Southampton winning it. Yeah, listen, this is where Cesc Fabregas, remember, he used to call it anti-football. Do you remember? He used to call it anti-football when teams just used to lump it into the box and then try and, you know, Arsenal would go away to Bolton or go away to Stoke and they would just play the long ball. And because we couldn't handle it, they just kept giving it to us. And he used to call it anti-football. Now, almost everything is anti-football if you're not playing the right way. So it's crazy. Tony, what was your thoughts on this one?
I might have gone for a draw, to be fair, when I saw this fixture. Again, Southampton have got a strike on form. You know, put the ball in the net, and Burnley's not a good team from come from behind. You know, if they score first, then they sit back, and then you have to try and break them down. They go down, and then they've got to come out. They're not good at that. So I think that's the rest of Burnley. You score first, and then you probably win the game. Burnley, not sure about them this season. You know, the dizzy heights they finished at a couple of seasons ago. I don't think they do that. And as I said to you last week, I think this is Dyche's last season with them. I think he'll be gone by the end of the season, or maybe before, maybe Christmas if they're doing badly.
Yeah, I think Tony, this is the 3rd, 4th year where teams have come up, they've managed to stay up, but because, you know, it's the thing, isn't it, that if you stand still, everybody just goes by you and you got lost by the wayside. It's the old Blockbusters business thing, isn't it? You know, Netflix went in and did it and changed the model. Blockbuster said, we're all right. We've got shops. We'll be fine. And because they didn't change the model, they just went by the wayside. I think this is, and it could happen to Burnley. It could happen to
quite a few Bournemouth last year.
Yes, exactly. And they could fall by the wayside of that. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You know, look, they hit on a great formula when they were in the championship with a good manager. A good manager is worth his weight in gold, and they have a good manager. He got them up, he kept them up, but without investment in the Premier League, you soon get found out. You know, and as good a manager as Sam Dyche is, you know, listen, you've got to find some gold. You've got to find a pot of money somewhere to reinvest in decent players, you know, so that you can keep yourself up amongst it. But I think Burnley are going to struggle this year. I've got a feeling Southampton are going to struggle this year as well, even though they've got Danny Ings. But I think Danny Ings is their get out of jail ticket.
Totally agree.
If he gets injured, they're in trouble.
Yeah. How many teams in that side of the table have a 20-goal-a-season striker? That is insane. Drew, where did you? I tell you what, Drew. Where is it now? Southampton, 1 shot on target, 1 goal, and this is ridiculous. Burnley, 2 shots. So in the whole game of 90 minutes, There was 3 shots on target.
I mean, this is the football that we all want to see in the 1910s. I mean, I've got to have a soft spot for Burnley because my missus used to be a season ticket holder. But oh my God, it was probably the worst game of the weekend in terms of overall quality. But Southampton have Danny Ings, and that is what's going to separate them from everyone else in the lower half of the table.
Yeah,
I mean, he got unlucky when he was at Liverpool with injuries.
Injuries.
But he is a genuine 20 to 25 a season striker, which is going to make all the difference.
Totally agree. So, what's your thoughts on Burnley? Are they're going to struggle this season?
I want to say no, because they got Nick Pope, but
no.
I don't think they've got enough quality throughout the rest of their team at all. I mean, it's one thing having a great goalkeeper when you're down there, but they don't have any. They don't have any creation in midfield. I mean, they've obviously got Tarkowski, and he's a quality centre back, but they got no one to put the ball in the net.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I have to agree with you there, mate. This is a very unforgiving league, and so we go from one striker to another informed striker. So let's move the chain, shall we? I went for 2-1 Leeds on this one. It was 1-0 Leeds. Bamford. What the hell is going on with Bamford, Ian?
It's not going to last, is it? It's not going to
It'll
last.
never last.
I mean, all right, have a go at me in 3 weeks' time if he's scored another 3. But I mean, it's fair play to the guy. I mean, he's taken advantage of his opportunities. It's like we were saying early on, where clubs like, Brighton, Palace, West Brom haven't got the people up top that are actually providing the finish, a la Danny Ings. Bamford's doing it at the moment. So, you can't take that away from him. And Leeds have been a breath of fresh air. They really, really have. I mean, obviously, this was only 1-0, which was a little bit of a surprise, I suppose, in terms of the amount of goals scored. But Sheffield United, a bit like Burnley, are never going to score a shed load. Although they've signed Brewster today, that's now confirmed from Liverpool. So that they've got a young, hungry forward now who might potentially start to make a difference for them. But yeah, I mean, not an unexpected result. I think I had Leeds winning it sort of 2-1, something like that. But I think we all said, if I remember on that pre-season pod that we did, that we thought Sheffield United, this might be the season they get found out. And with 0 points on their docket at the moment, it very much looks like that's going to happen. O'Connell's out for the season, so they haven't got that rigidity at the back. Obviously, they've got Ramsdale now instead of Henderson at the back, and whatever you think in terms of Ramsdale's quality, he's not a Henderson. I think they are potentially the ones that are going to be in trouble out of the existing sort of Premiership teams. I mean, you can see West Brom and Fulham for the plunge, but it's who that third team is going to be. And I think Sheffield United are going to be in the running for that slot, to be honest. But Leeds,
that's funny.
But Leeds this week got Man City. That's going to be a barn burner, isn't it?
It is, but listen, Leeds have been my favoured team from week 1. They were the team that I told all of you guys that are gonna shock the Premier League, and I think that they're doing really well. They're doing about as well as I thought that they could do. And look, we just looked at the other game, 1-0, 3 shots on target. This one had 13 shots on target, so it was a much more enjoyable game. But Leeds play attractive football. They really do. Tony, what is going on here? I mean, Arsenal's playing Sheffield United on Sunday. Sheffield United, 4 games, 4 losses, and no goals. Not one.
Yeah, I said a couple of weeks ago, I said to you that their problem is going to be scoring goals. I told you, I think they're going to struggle big time. Wilder's going to find it really difficult to get this team. Well, they're going to be nowhere where they finished last season. It ain't going to happen. And I think Arsenal, you guys have beat them. Coming to Leeds, Leeds, I think Liverpool is the toughest side they played. They played what was it? Fulham and Sheffield United. Yeah, so I think they're the only teams they played. I think Leeds will be all right. I think they'll finish 11th or 12th. They won't be able to keep up what they're doing now. There's no way. Bielsa won't be able to keep them going 100 miles an hour all the time. So I think they'll do well. I think Man City will beat them this weekend. I can't see them beating Man City, even though Man City lost the other week. I can't see it. I think Man City beat Leeds. I think they'll be found out this weekend. But Sheffield United, she's going to struggle big time. Brewster going in there, he's young. Yeah, obviously they got him from us. I think we've got buyback clause on it as well. I think we signed a 5-year contract. And we've got
a very good deal for Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a 15% sell-on clause or something like that as well. We got from him, so he might. It's a gamble, you know. We don't know. We don't know what Brewster will do, but let's see. But I think they'll struggle. Sheffield United.
Yeah, I gotta say, there's this guy who's blowing up the chat. He's left about 15 messages on there, and he's honking on about Chelsea. Passionate that they've spent 200 million, passionate that they're going to win the league. So listen, I just thought I'd give you a big shout out because that's what it's all about, mate. It's about bigging up your team, flinging that banter everywhere. So big shout out to you, my friend. Tony Cox, are Leeds the real deal? I told you they'll finish up in the top half of the table, mate. I did say that to you, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as I said previously, you know, with the Burnley formula, when you're in the Championship, get yourself a good manager. Bielsa is a world-class manager, and he will take them far. You know, if they should get a striker, because I think Bamford is one of the weak links for me. I think he's just not going to score enough goals. Yeah. But if they should, you know, find themselves at some point in time, you know, a last-minute deal to get a decent striker alongside Bamford, they will be, you know, knocking on the door, top 6, potentially.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he was injured a little bit last year, but if he gets injured this year, they're dead. And that's the same for all of them, for Southampton, Brighton, Morpay. These teams with one decent striker, if they get a suspension or injury, they're dead. Drew, are you a fan of Leeds yet, my friend?
I'm becoming a fan of Bamford right now. I can't even say it and keep a straight face. I'm terrible. I'm actually, though, after last weekend's City performance, I'm actually terrified of Patrick Bamford. And these are words I never thought I'd say. Officially, he's had the best start to a season of any league striker in history.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to even comprehend that. They've had some great strikers over the years, and he is the greatest ever over a 3 game span.
I mean, I must say, though, Drew, I must say to you, when I talked about Leeds, we were doing our Premier League preview, and that's when I said to you, lot, they're going to finish in the top part of the table. And the reason why is because of what Tony talked about. They've got a very progressive manager. He attacks, he takes the games to teams. They're one of in fact, they're the only team in the Premiership that plays man-to-man. And it's incremental. They don't do it all the time. They pick their spots, but they put you under pressure. They attack teams. And teams, including what happened to Liverpool in the first game, I see you smiling, Tony. Yeah, teams are. When we played them at the Emirates, they rushed us. We won the game in the second half, but we didn't know how to deal with them because teams playing man-to-man, it's just not. It's not a custom in the Premier League. And they're going to shock a lot of people.
No, they are. I mean, the thing is, though, with Bielsa, you wouldn't have Guardiola, and for that, you wouldn't have Arteta. Bielsa, he has basically his whole philosophy of football. It's moulding the modern manager. So he's basically the Grand Master, just showing everyone how to do it again, but in the Premiership.
So, guys,
I'm ripping it a little bit for tomorrow now. Please don't let Bamford score.
I've come to the part of the show. I've come to the part of the show that I've been licking my lips at. And funny enough, we've got no Andy here for Spurs, and Luke hasn't answered me today. So no Luke tonight. No Spurs fans here to talk about their team. Now, we talked about Man United, how in the 100th minute, 10 minutes into injury time, they got a penalty. and we were moaning about it. Well, I weren't moaning in this one. 97 minutes, and it weren't even a penalty. It was what was going on, Ian? Ian,
nah,
I know.
Terrible.
You can say I got the score
as we said, the Man United one was a legitimate penalty, but I mean, you know, Spurs got robbed, and that's coming from a West Ham fan. But in fairness, I mean, Mourinho again proving he's the anti-Bielsa, right? Bielsa, you know, his teams. I mean, what did he say against Fulham? They were 4-1 up or something, and they said, "Well, why didn't you shut up shop?" And he said, "Well, we wanted to score more goals." It's like Mourinho. It's that classic 1-0. Let's just shut up shop and take the 1-0 win. Well, they got bitten in the bum, didn't they, by doing that? And yeah, it shouldn't have been a penalty. Andy Carroll coming good. Love it. But, it just goes to show you can't... It's very hard these days, unless you are superbly drilled at the back, to sit on a 1-goal lead. And, they got caught out. And I think what's been proven the week before and what's happened, obviously, in Europe this week... They're strong enough. They don't need to sit on a 1-goal lead. They're strong enough. They've got enough options. Even with Son injured, they've got enough options now that they can attack teams and score multiple goals. Kane is in the best form he's been in for probably 12 months. It's like, take advantage of that. Don't sit your ass on a 1-goal lead because you're just asking for trouble. So it'll be very interesting to see how they come out. I mean, obviously, they've played 3 games. This will be their 4th game in a week. They're playing at the weekend, and they're playing Man United at Old Trafford, I think. So, not the ideal scenario for them this weekend. But I think Spurs are going to be fine. But Jose needs to get out of his own way, I think, and let his team play a little bit more.
Yeah, listen, by the time they signed Mourinho as a manager, they were doomed. Tony, what was your thoughts on this one? I can't believe I got this score prediction right. This is the one that I really wanted. Get in there, Newcastle.
Yeah, I think last weekend was the worst weekend for handball. It was terrible. It was never a penalty. It was never a penalty. I can't believe it. The thing is with Spurs. Spurs aren't built to sit on a 1-goal lead. You know, they weren't like the Chelsea's when he was managing Chelsea and those sort of teams who just Inter. They're built, that John Terry, all those big guys. They're built. They can sit on one nil lead. Spurs ain't that. Spurs need to go out and score 2 or 3 goals because very rarely that they're going to keep a clean sheet. Spurs. So he's got to change, but I'm not sure if he can, Mourinho. I'm not sure if he can change his ways. And if he ain't going to change his ways, then he's going to need to bring in players to adapt to his ways because his ways and the players he's got at Spurs just aren't fit at the moment. I think that's where he's seen the issue.
Tony, I said to you, Eric Dyer is not a centre-back. Sanchez is struggling. These guys, when you've had Toby, I'm gonna Toby Wankanobi, as expressions would say, and when you've had Vertonghen for the last 5 years, this is a bag of crock. I can't wait to play these guys.
Yeah, no, they're definitely going to be suffering if they think that Eric Dyer is going to be the solution at the back. They're really struggling. I don't rate Serge Aurier at the right back slot either. So I think they've got a couple of definite weak links in the back 4. But, it's Spurs. They look like they've got a lot of prowess going forward. They bought really well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're going to be that kind of team that could potentially, like yesterday, hammer a team for a 7. But they could just as easily lose a 2-0 at home because they've got that weak soft centre. And, we talk about managers. We've already alluded to the Mourinho factor. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, for real. Drew, where did you see this one going?
I mean, I thought Tottenham would win. Doesn't mean I wanted them to win. So a draw was a good result. But once again, it just proved if Mourinho wanted to go forward with a team, they would absolutely spank people. I don't know why he wants this Spurs side to sit back. There's no... I mean, the quality they've got going forward, it baffles me. People have looked at Mourinho like he's a world-class coach for years, whereas most of us fans in the Premiership have been sat here kind of like sniggering away, laughing at that because I mean, he's not, is he? Well, he obviously has won a lot of things, but he's also the most overrated coach. Has been in the right place at the right time with a lot of clubs that he's managed. I mean, you can win a championship with Real Madrid. Brilliant. You can win a championship when Chelsea were the first multi-billion club in the Premiership. I mean, he's basically playing with Pochettino's team, but asking him to defend.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of what he's doing with Spurs this season.
And the thing about it is when you look at the managers who have spent the most money in the history of the game, in first place is Guardiola with 1.6 billion. And second is Mourinho, 1.3 billion. So these managers so claim the best in the world, but what would have Wenger been like if you gave him that money? What would Alex Ferguson been like if you gave him that money? I mean, I just don't see it. Seriously, even with Pep Guardiola, I've always called him out because when you've spent more money than everyone in the game, it's like taking drugs in a 100-meter race. It's like you've got the advantage there. Use it. And then for all its glory, you still didn't do it at Bayern Munich. When you went to Bayern Munich, you still couldn't do it when you went there. So I don't know, man. I mean, look, I like what he did at Inter Milan. Inter Milan was where Mourinho went there. Nobody expected anything, and they won the Champions League. So I'll give him respect.
To be fair, winning a Champions League when you got Milito up front, that's actually quite impressive.
Yeah, definitely. So let's actually start off with Drew because this is Drew's team. What happened?
Yeah.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, because all right. Let's go to the normal cycle and go to Ian first. Ian, what happened?
Mate, I feel so sorry for you. I mean, if anyone was predicting this game, I think we said before we went live, no one would have questioned it had you said the final score is going to be 5-2, but we'd all have said it had been the other way. Funnily enough, that conversation we were just having about the money that Pep and Jose have spent, it's almost like they both have to prove that they're so clever. So they outthink themselves. They have to prove how clever they are, rather than someone like Klopp who just goes, right, this is my best 11. They're well drilled. They're used to playing with each other. Out you go, same 11 every week, and we'll win. Pep does this rotation and playing around. I know they've got some injuries at the moment, but he almost tries to have to prove how clever he is. Same as Jose, and tell everyone how clever they are. But they're maybe not. And I mean, and obviously the money you said he's spent. I mean, he really does not have an eye for a defender, does he?
Well, which is my next question to Tony. Tony, they just bought Ruben Diaz from Benfica for 65 million.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere that Pep spent something like 600 million on defenders.
It's just ridiculous.
Which is
we just bought Gabriel for 27 million.
We just bought Kufal 5.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's just trying to fit people in. He thinks, right, someone's worth that amount of money. That's going to fix it. But if they're not well drilled, that ain't going to work. And this game here, they just were being caught out. Vardy just the same, right? He was having a field day. The same thing happening all the time. Even though Man City didn't play too bad, they didn't play badly, but at the back they were just so exposed all the time. And Guardiola's got to look at that. There's no way they're going to win the Champions League if they're defending like that. And this new guy, I'm not sure. I don't know too much about him, to be honest with you. I'm not sure who he's going to fix. If him and Laporte play together, it might be solid enough. Mendy, left back, is dodgy for me. I'm not convinced. And they had who's
yeah.
I
think the injuries may be a take.
Was it Shevchenko? Who did they have the other guy? Zinchenko or something? The other who they have at left back?
No, they got Walker. They got Walker and Mendy as their wing backs, and they got Aki and Garcia in the middle.
And Aki, he's just come in there. So yeah, I think Man City have come good, but I think defensively they've had an issue for the last two seasons. Man City, and they need to fix it this season. If they don't, they won't win the league this season or win the Champions League without fixing that.
Yeah, I think the funny thing about it is, when have you ever seen Man City play and the other team's got 16 shots and they've got 7? I don't think I can ever recall that. But
it's 3 penalties as well.
I was about to say, yeah. Man City had a 1-0 lead for 37 minutes, Tony, and then three penalties.
I mean, I actually disagree with Tony in respect of they will sort it out, because you got to look at what happened to them last season. They lost 9 games in the Premier League. You know, up until a few weeks prior to the end of the season, we had lost less games than them, and we were in 10th. So I see there is a problem that Pep has not sorted out. We play them in a couple of weeks, and in all honesty, I feel like we'll go and do a number on them again. You know, they're a team that, yes, they can blow a team apart 8-0 with all that talent that they have at their disposal. Yes, you know, it's Chelsea Mark II, but just obviously they got a better coach and they've had more time to gel. But nine losses last year. You have to look at that and say, hang on a second, what top team loses 9 games in a season? Then, I'm sorry, I don't feel they're going to, challenge for the Champions League, which is what the be-all and end-all is for Pep. And 2, I think they'll struggle to be second again in the league.
Yeah, we're coming to our Man City correspondent in Drew, and I don't even know what to say to you, bro. But I think all of the penalties were soft, but you can't. A lot of them was dragging a player back who's advancing.
You can't give away penalties like that against any opposition in the Premiership. You're going to get punished. Yeah. It doesn't matter what team you are. You're going to get punished if you defend like we defended. But I mean, we had no centre forward, which cost us in the first 35 minutes. We could have been 3 up. But then saying that, we still would have got thrashed the way Leicester came out in the second half. They turned us. I mean, I've got a lot of other Man City friends, and they're all kind of like talking about the fact that it's a shame that we're going to lose Garcia. I'm glad. He is. He's got the turning circle of a bloody bus. He's really quick over the first 10 yards, but what happens after those 10 yards is anyone's bloody. I mean, positionally, he's inept. Ake, I mean, I'm less than convinced, but we've just spent, between him and Diaz, we've spent nearly we have spent £110 million on centre-backs. And one was decent in Portugal and the other one just got relegated from the Premiership with his old team. So I'm a little bit worried about our defence now.
It's funny you say that. Kulke said, so to get back to winning titles, they've splashed 65 million on a relatively unproven defender who hasn't played in one of the top 5 leagues. If this works, fair play to City. The question I had for you, Drew, is I've noticed, and you know what I'm going to say, you knew this question was coming. I've noticed that ever since Arteta left last December.
Yeah. Honestly, Arteta was the man I wanted to long-term take over at City. I think, honestly, having him as the assistant manager for a couple of years, learned a lot about the guy. I think he is going to surpass Pep's career as it goes. I think he's at the right club for him, though, with Arsenal. They're going to give him freedom to bring through the players that he wants to bring through from the youth setup, and they're going to back him just enough financially. And that's what he needs. He doesn't need to spend hundreds of millions.
Yeah, because
he has an eye for talent.
if they don't back him, then he's going to go to a club that will. And it's as simple as that. And I think the Arsenal owners know that. CJ is just saying Inter won the treble, not just the Champions League. Wow. Okay, I forgot about that.
True that.
Yeah, big time. Who you got this week, Drew?
Yeah. we got Leeds, and I'm worried.
Away as well.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. So we come on to hope, and look, you can see that. Oh no, that's not good.
Ian's getting excited.
Yeah, yeah. Look at that. I've done the figure the other way around there, because my prediction was wrong. I went for where is it? I've lost it. Here it is. I went for a 2-1 Wolves win, and West Ham opened the mouths of Wolves players and pissed down their throat. Absolutely. Wolves only had 2 shots on target. 2 shots on target. West Ham completely and utterly, clinically dissected Wolves and smacked the shit out of them. Over to you, Ian.
Stop the season now. It ain't going to get better than this. Honestly, I mean, you know, I'm not going to give you my age, but I've been a West Ham fan all my life, and this is what you come to expect. You know, we can play absolute shite from one week to the next, and then suddenly, out of the blue, West Ham will put in a performance like this, and where does it come from? And please let it last for more than a 1-game, stint. But yeah, I mean, we were phenomenal, and against a Wolves team who have been solid at the back ever since they've come up to the Premier League. They've been absolutely solid as a rock. I know they've had a few changes this year, but not to the extent that West Ham are going to bang them for 4. But we were great. I mean, Bowen, is now really. I mean, he took his time to just play his way into the team because he only came in January. He's taken a while to sort of settle in, but he's running the show now. And I hope it's not just a flash in the pan. I think we've still got some really horrific fixtures coming up for the next 3 or 4 weeks. I think we've got Liverpool and City back to back in the next 2 or 3 weeks coming up. But if we can get out of that, if we can sneak another 3-4 points maybe over the next 3 or 4 weeks, the whole thing's looking a bit brighter. And we've actually signed someone. Kufal's in for 5 million, a right back. Reports are, he's 27, 28, so he's not the youngest, but he's got experience. Souček speaks very highly of them. They played together at Sparta Prague. And rumours are we're now in for this Marseille defender, Kaleta Carr, who apparently he's 24, very, very highly spoken of. It's just whether Sullivan will actually dip his little hand in his long pocket and come out with the cash. But if we can make a couple of signings to shore up the defence, I think going forward we're looking all right, as long as we can avoid injuries, because this is the problem we've got, where we're slightly short benched compared to the likes of the clubs at the top that have got essentially their reserve side could essentially be a first team, as was seen when 5 subs were being rolled out when we came back from lockdown. The teams at the bottom were struggling because they just didn't have those 5 top quality players to bring on. As long as we stay injury free, which is a big ask, we might be all right now. But I'm really, really hoping it's not a flash in the pan. And I think Wolves will come back. They're not a sort of team, I don't think, that's going to go on a roll. I think their manager is really going to tear into them this week, and I think we'll see a completely different Wolves team coming out to play this weekend.
David is saying, I'm enjoying you guys. Listen, we love doing this. This is only the 3rd week we've been doing this show, bro. But I think that is something that I talked about doing a long time ago. There's a few shows that does like football forums, but I think it's good to create one where you can have fans from other teams that will give their views. Cool K is just blowing up Ian here. Wow, I mean, he's saying Moyes and his team didn't do too bad with Bowen and Souček, no? And then he's saying, because of who they brought in. And he says, well, at least Ian has signed someone, and Goodett's a defender, which will strengthen desperately.
Can I just make an observation? Moyes wasn't in the building at the weekend.
There you go.
I didn't want to mention that.
There you go.
Moyes was at home sipping his cocoa. He was not in the building at the weekend.
And then he says, what's happened to Sam Bryan? And then he also says, really time for 4-4-2. Stick with Antonio and Hala up front. They will outmuscle and bully defenders.
Byron went to Norwich. Byron went to Norwich last season. Sam Byram, he went to Norwich last year.
Excellent. Tony, man, look at this scoreline. This has to be the scoreline of the week.
The year.
Yeah. You just didn't see this coming. Wolves haven't started off that great, to be fair. As I said, they're slow starters anyway. But there's no worse. I saw 4-0. But the key for West Ham, you've got to get Antonio playing regularly and doing his thing every week, because when he's on his day, Antonio is a monster. He really, really is a monster, Antonio. And when West Ham win and when West Ham play well, he's the catalyst. So Antonio's a key guy. If you get him playing, he'll score goals. At the back now, you've got this new guy coming in. Hopefully that'll shore up things. You've got Declan Rice. West Ham have got decent players. I think West Ham is sometimes in the game when I watch them, they don't know where to stick or twist. Sometimes they don't know. Should we go for it? Sometimes I'm not sure if they know what to do. But they've got decent players. West Ham. They'll be safe. I think West Ham will be 9th, 10th this season.
Well, we've got some support here, and Ian and Tony have been saying this win came out of nowhere. We didn't see this coming. Kuke has just said Apollo saw it. He's been bigging up West Ham all season. Thank you.
True.
Thank you.
True.
18 is saying West Ham are legit. Kuke has another mistake. Kuke is saying if you sign championship quality players, you end up in the championship. West Ham needs new scouts.
Can I just make an observation there? He says scouts in the plural. I think, as far as I'm aware, we have one scout.
Listen, that's one more than Arsenal.
So maybe we need more than one scout. Maybe that's what he's saying.
Bro, that's one more than Arsenal. We sacked all of ours.
Because of COVID.
Yeah, we sacked all of ours. Tony, what did you think of this one?
You know what? Well done, West Ham. Did not see this
thank you, my man.
Suddenly people, myself included, have started noticing some of these names. Your Fornals, your Součeks, your Declan Rices. I wasn't really that sure about, the lad Bowen. As you said, where did he come out? Where did that performance come from? I'll be totally honest with you, I never even noticed him playing before. But
yeah, he's
looking
good.
at that performance, it looked like he'd been playing in the Premier League all his life. But look, well done. Take that and build on it, and hopefully you'll get a few more of those wins. Wolves will come back strong. Like Tony said, they're slow starters. They will come back with a vengeance, I'm sure.
Yeah, Mr. Bungle. Nice to see you, Mr. Bungle. I've been waiting for you to come up on the channel. He's somebody who I've been seeing from Sunny TV Unfiltered. I used to talk to Mr. Bungle all the time, so it's good to see you here. And he says Chelsea are shite. I totally agree with you, mate. Kuke saying the finances have been hit harder at West Ham than any other Premier League team by have taken a larger match day gates, but that's no excuse. They don't even pay for their stadium. It's a tiny little, 4 or 5 million? It's nothing.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot. I don't think there's any excuse at all. And at the end of it, we flogged Ian Garner when we shouldn't have. There should be money there. There really is no excuse. And I think the feeling amongst a lot of West Ham fans, I mean, you see the protests on Twitter and around the place about the management. I think the general feeling is, if you haven't got the money to run a Premier League club, sell it. I agree. If you don't have the wherewithal. However, David Gold's a lifelong West Ham fan. He used to live in Green Street and have his jellied eels on the way to the game. Brilliant. But if you don't have the funds, unfortunately, it's a moneyed game now. And if you don't have the funds, you really and you love the club as much as you do. Let someone come in who actually has the money that can take them forward in the way that we were promised when they flogged Upton Park and moved us into the Olympic Stadium, because that was the big deal, wasn't it? European football, next level.
Yeah.
And if you I can liken it to other things. I won't get into politics, but you can liken it to other things where promises are made and they turn out to be false. But it's a bit of that going on. Lots of big promises, and at the moment they're just not walking the walk.
Excellent. So, Mr. Bungle said, "I've subbed to your channel, Apollo, ages ago. It's just never captured you live on Bro." Listen, I'm live on a Wednesday. I'm live on a Sunday. We do this Premiership show on a Friday night, but I do live stream all the Arsenal games as well. So I'm pretty much clockwork when it comes to all of my live streams. D is saying, "Been listening in. Good show, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, bro." 18 saying, "Great show. Love this format." Yeah, it's nice when we can talk about all the other teams on a Friday night as well as Arsenal. Tony, Ashley, whose go is it? Is it Drew? I think it's Drew's go. Oh, Tony, you're pointing to everywhere. It's Drew. Oh, Drew. Okay, Drew, what did you think of this one?
I mean, right. So first off, if not for the absolute dicking at Leicester gave City, West Ham would have had performance of the weekend. They genuinely would have done. I will criticise David Moyes all day, every day. And this is what happens when David Moyes is not allowed near a football club. They just provide an absolute thrilling piece of football. They were amazing. I mean, it's amazing. I can't believe what the difference a Scotsman makes, quite frankly. It was bizarre. But I'm very happy. Just in relation to David Gold and possibly selling, see, I wouldn't actually want him to sell up unless it was to someone else with ties to the club long term. Because I'd hate to see another Mike Ashley situation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's
someone who would. The ideal is someone who's got ties to the club that bleeds claret and blue, but has the money to take them forward. That's the issue. Yeah. I don't know if there's anyone out there.
It feels weird as a City fan saying that, but we were saved from complete and utter obliteration by having our takeover, and I'll be forever grateful of that. But if I saw another bloody Mike Ashley in football. It's all owners like that do is just strip the life away from clubs.
Yeah, me and Ian have experienced that with a man called Dan Snyder who lives in Maryland, and I heard he's a West Ham fan. So be careful what you wish for; it just might come true. Tony, who's a Miami Dolphins fan, knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, guys, we're going to move on to Villa and Fulham, and look, Villa, who was relegation fodder, went out, bought themselves, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper in the league. And 2 clean sheets, the only goalkeeper who's not let in a goal yet, saved the penalty as well.
The best goal in the league, did you say?
Villa are on the warpath at the moment. I said it was going to be 2-0 Villa. It was 1-0. Ian, where did you see this one?
Well, I saw a Villa win because I think Fulham are dead and buried along with West Brom. But I think the way Aston Villa have gone about the off-season and the way they've started the season, out of pretty much the whole Premier League, they've had, I think, the best transfer business. They've strengthened literally the spine of their team, as you say. They've brought in a fantastic keeper, which now gives them solidity, which gives them confidence. And with Mings and Konsa in the centre, they bullied Mitrovic. They and Fulham's basically only way of scoring is Mitrovic, which we know. I mean, was it something like 30 crosses or something ridiculous? All just banged into Mitrovic, which is their hit and hope theory. When you've got 2 big centre backs that can play him out of the game, Fulham are toothless. In Villa, they've got Watkins now up front, who's yet to play himself into form, but he's only been there a week or so. They are going to be fine this year, I think, Villa. And as I say, they've done very, very good business. They've not paid stupid amounts of money for anybody, but the money they have spent, I think they've spent very wisely, and they've strengthened in 4 or 5 different positions in their team. A team that was looking very strong after lockdown. So, I think Villa are going to be fine. Fulham, gone.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, what are the guys saying? Kuke saying Martinez is easily the best goalie in the league. Bang on Apollo. He also says, when you realise I have more points on my driving licence than Fulham have in the Premier League. Tony, what did you think?
That'll probably still be true at Christmas.
Yeah. Again, Fulham's problem is going to be scoring goals. We all know that. They're going to struggle. Villa, I think the biggest piece of Villa was keeping Grealish.
Yeah.
I think if Grealish would have gone, whoever they brought in, I think they would have struggled. But they kept him, so that gave the team a lot of confidence, and they bought well as well. I can see Villa be okay. They'd be again mid-table, somewhere around there. I think they'd be better. They'd be doing better than Sheffield United, the Burnley, even Southampton. I think they'd be doing better than Southampton even. So I think Villa be okay. I don't agree with signing the best goalkeeper in the league. What's that about?
Who's the Tony? So hold on, Tony. Who's the best goalie in the league? Yeah, who's the best goalie in the league? Because I've seen all the goalkeepers in the league.
The goalie we've got, isn't it?
I've seen all the goalies in the league. Who do you think's the best goalie in the league?
My goalkeeper.
Your goalkeeper.
Yes.
Ooh.
I won't swap him for anybody. Who's just? What? I won't swap him for any goalkeeper.
I think you might be right on number 2. Yeah, I think Tony. I'd have to side with Tony on this one.
Yeah, I've seen Liverpool's goalkeeper. I've seen all the goalkeepers in the league, and I haven't seen him do what this guy does. I think he's the best goalie in the league. That's my opinion. I think he's heads. I think he's just an outstanding talent. And good luck to him, man.
I think he might be worked more, but he's not the best.
I think he's Tony. Where did you see this one?
Stop it.
Hold on, Tony. Before you say that, Tony, who's the best goalie in the league?
Yeah, I love Martinez. I love Martinez, but I gotta give Liverpool their due. They have a good keeper.
Yeah, they also have a good centre back, and his name's Van Dijk. I wonder what would happen if he.
I see you're gonna make an excuse.
Makes it easy, doesn't it?
You have to say about Martin, if he was that good, why wasn't he beating out Leno? I mean, he's played brilliantly when he's had the opportunity, but if he was that good and Arteta is that good a manager, why wasn't he playing ahead of Leno?
Yeah, that's not even a question because there's no answer to it.
It is.
Well, Ian, the answer is he didn't beat out Leno. He didn't beat out Leno. There were certain things that happened behind the scene. I've actually told Tony about it because I know his agent. There's a few things that happened behind the scene, and they didn't treat Martinez. Put it this way: they didn't want to pay him like a number one, and he wants to be paid like a number one. Mm-hmm. So you don't pay Leno 90 grand a week, and then offer a guy who's been playing better than him 50 grand a week, and then Villa come in with 85 grand a week. It's ridiculous. That's not here or there. It wasn't Arsenal's. A lot of people think Arsenal let Martinez go. That wasn't how it went. Martinez was the one that asked to go.
Yeah, well, he put himself in the shop window, didn't he, after lockdown with fantastic performances, and he's what 28 or something,
27.
So 27. So he's taken a while to get in that shop window, and he's taken full advantage of it. And don't get me wrong, I think he's a fantastic keeper. I wouldn't mind having him backing up Fabianski, ready to come in when Fabianski retires. To be honest, he's a fantastic keeper. But I think you are looking through slightly rose-tinted specs.
Yeah, because mate, I wouldn't mind signing him back. I wouldn't.
I think you're looking slightly through gunner-tinted specs there. I think Alisson is the top guy we'd all choose, if we had the choice of any goalkeeper, we'd all go for Alisson, wouldn't we? Seriously?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I would have Martinez all day long. I'd have Martinez all day long. Tony, what did you think of this game?
Yeah, I totally predicted Villa to win this one. Fulham are going to be, we said it at the week one, Fulham would be whipping boys, and I've got nothing that changes my mind on that. They've got nothing up front that makes you think I've got something to fear.
You don't rate Mitrovic?
How many goals do you think he'll score by the end of the season?
That would be down to how much service he gets from his midfield. He's still a good striker.
12 goals. If he gets 12 goals, I'll be surprised.
I hear you.
And that in the Premier League for a team that is not good or good enough, is not going to make any difference.
Yeah, I hear you. What about you, Drew?
All right, first of all, just on the goalkeeper thing, Alisson is not the best keeper in the Premiership. Just saying. I actually rate Leno, however you say his surname. I actually rate him as better than Martinez.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow. I don't agree with you.
Early career potential. He's had some severe problems. And quite honestly, the one thing that Martinez did do brilliantly was playing behind Arsenal's flimsy defence at times last season. But Alisson gets to play behind Van Dijk, which is a massive advantage for anyone.
I agree. The one thing you have to remember, guys, I've been covering Arsenal games for years, and there's two things you don't see from Leno. And when we beat Liverpool last night, that was a clear reflection of what Bernd Leno was all about. Fantastic shot stopper. When it comes to dealing with crosses and playing out the back, he is bang awful. And you can look good saving shots as much as you like, but there are other parts to being a goalkeeper in the Premiership. And he's been sadly exposed in the 2 years he's been in the Premiership. He's had 9 goals leading to goalkeeper errors, which is by far more than any player in the league. And that's something nobody likes to talk about because they like to butter him up in good faith. I don't do that. I'm subjective. I'll tell you about the good and I'll tell you about the bad. And that's the reason why.
To be honest, though, it's a modern symptom of goalkeeping. Ederson, amazing shot stopper. I do not trust him though at set plays.
There you go.
I mean, if City had a defence, I'd trust him a little bit more. But we're literally playing with a 5'10" Nathan Ake at the moment, and whatever centre back or central midfielder we choose to throw in alongside him. I mean, I'd rate Alisson higher than that, but I really like Leno. I genuinely do like him. You know, like when you're playing like Football Manager, he's like one player I always go after. He's actually banging value as well, to be fair.
It's going to be good because Villa are playing Liverpool this weekend.
Yeah, there's so many goals he scored.
Yeah.
Should be a good game. I think it's going to be quite tight, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So we go down to the last one, and I'm not going to say nothing because I've left videos on this all week on my channel, so I don't need to say nothing. Ian, let's go straight over to you.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to pass it over to the guys that actually watched the game, our Liverpool and Arsenal correspondents, because I didn't actually see the game on Monday night. So I'm best not to comment first. I'll pass it over to the other guys.
So basically, Ian, what happened is Mane elbowed an Arsenal player.
I saw that. That was a bit naughty, wasn't it?
If that was an Arsenal player, that would have been a straight red. Jota's last goal as well. The last goal that Jota scored, the ball hits his elbow, and he chests it down, and then hits into the back of the net. No VAR, no handball.
All I'm hearing are excuses, Apollo. All I'm hearing are excuses.
It's not excuses. It's a fact. Look, we got beaten by Liverpool. Big credit to Liverpool. I covered the match on live day commentary. I was talking about the tactics as it was going on. I told them what Jurgen Klopp was doing in the midfield, and we couldn't stop it. We couldn't play him in the second.
Apparently, if Lacazette could hit a barn door, you might have done well as well.
Well, there you go, mate.
Well, the other one won.
So, Tony, good win?
Yeah, it was a good win for us. I must admit, I didn't see it, to be honest with you. I didn't see it. See the whole game. But we were the better team. You know, you could talk about the elbow, which was there wasn't much in
That's
that
a
at all.
game changer, that elbow. That's a game changer.
Yeah, yeah. If it was a real elbow, then yeah, send him off. But come on. Yes, and Lacazette.
Tony, come on, Tony.
Come on, man.
Tony,
come on.
Tony, he leans in. The ball is on the right. He leans into the player on the left.
Yeah, leaning.
I've seen people go for a lot less than that. To be honest, you've seen people walk for a lot less than that, haven't you?
Come on.
Come
on. Anyway, let's go again. And yes, Lacazette going through 1-1 should have done much better. You know, Alisson came out, but he should have done much better. That would have made 2-2. But that wasn't a true reflection. 3-1 wasn't a true reflection. It should have been more than that, to be fair.
Well, less, because I said that the last goal was a handball, so it actually should have been less than that. But when was the last time you guys lost? I like the way you said you didn't watch the game. You don't have to watch home games now because you know you win them all. What has it been? 2017 since you last lost?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Amazing.
Listen. I think we're at around about 80%. Liverpool. We're not at our best at the moment. I still think there's more to come. We're not our best.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we're still around about 80%, and as time goes on, we'll get better. Mane being out is going to make a difference because for me, he's a catalyst of our front three for me, Mane. So him missing will make a difference. We'll have Jota come in, and I think Jota will be okay. You know, I think Jota fits into our system. And that's the thing with Klopp. I like what Klopp does. He brings in players that fits into his system. You know, we bought big when we got Alisson and we got Van Dijk because we needed to. Because Karius was a nightmare and we were conceding goals. But if you look at the rest of his signings, they've been 30 million, 40 million, you know, then they haven't been too excessive. So bringing Jota in, I think he'll fit into the system. So I think we'll get better as the season goes on. I think.
Excellent. And where do you think Arsenal will finish?
I think did you get in top four? Let me think. Man City. I think you guys can get in the top four. I think you can. It depends how you're defensively now. Now you bought some defenders. I think that's helped. But I think you can get in the top four. But I'm not sure how consistent you're going to be. If you can keep the consistency, you'll be all right. Because usually in the season, you start off well. Then when it comes to sort of like February, you seem to taper off for some reason. And then the last 4 games, you win them. And it's like, well, it's too late. But I think you can do top 4.
I think it's new ground for us. The question is, we don't know at the moment where we are because Arteta's never started a season. So all Arsenal fans are looking to see exactly how he's going to manage that because whereas some managers have had pigs and troughs, Arteta suffers no fools. If you don't turn up in practice, if you don't turn up in a game, your heads are going to roll. This guy, he's in it to win it. And that's why I said to you, if they don't back him, he ain't going to stick around. You know, his admirations as a manager, a successful manager, is way bigger than what we can facilitate. We're having to keep up with him rather than the other way around. Tony, before you go, Tony, just Mr. Bungle saying, if Xhaka was doing that to Liverpool, oh yeah, big time. Tony, if Xhaka elbowed the Liverpool player, do you think he'd be on the pitch?
Probably not.
Not Anfield, he wouldn't be.
I'm actually going to steer clear of that.
That little misdemeanor. Man. Stop looking for excuses, man.
Well, look, I think we're okay with excuses.
Listen, no,
come on,
Liverpool deserved that win. They came out with the fire. They were on fire. I mean, the closing game was phenomenal. The interplay was outstanding, but you know the score kind of looks a little bit bigger than it probably should have been. It should have been 3-2. It could have been 3-2. It could have been 2-2.
2-2. Yeah.
You know,
it could have been 5-2.
Listen, I'm gonna say a couple of things. Where is Mo Salah?
Yeah, what's happening with that, the brother there?
Mo Salah yesterday played against our reserve team and still was missing.
Yeah. I think Tony even said, though, that the team's 80%. He did say that.
Yeah. And then my other point is, now that Mane's out, that's a problem for Liverpool. For me, I think, he's a massive part of that machinery. Liverpool got lucky in another dimension because Mikel Arteta made an error. Mikel Arteta left out our best central defender.
Yeah, Gabriel. Yeah. I totally agree.
This guy is going to be phenomenal. And I'm going back to your question, Apollo, about where will Arsenal finish at the end of the season. Right now, we'll finish top 6. If, however, in the next 3 days, we go out and buy the 2 players that we've been linked with, we'll be top 4.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. And you know me, I've already said, I've gone down from 4th to 6th because we sold Martinez. Drew, did you get this one right?
No, I actually backed Arsenal.
Yeah.
So this has got nothing to do with the fact that I don't ever want good things to happen to Liverpool, and so it might have a little bit to do with the fact that I never want anything good to happen to Liverpool.
It's biased, yeah. There you go.
Liverpool deserved to win it. I agree with Tony, though. They didn't. 3-1 seems flattering. I think 3-2 would have been adequate. When Lacazette gets through 1-on-1, I don't know how. He's the centre forward. It just isn't a centre forward. He's capable of doing some brilliant things, but finishing is not one of them by the looks of it. But I thought Arsenal acquitted themselves pretty well. With the elbow, though, no, I don't think Xhaka would have stayed on if it was the other way around at Anfield.
Yeah, I agree.
Quite honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
But you're still going to get like certain decisions that are a little bit home fan decision, even without fans in the stadium. Referees there's always going to be a little bit of bias to a home team, I think, with most referees. It's unfortunate, but the handball, though, I don't know where I stand on that handball because it's kind of hit the bicep. Which
by rule is a handball.
I know.
It didn't even go to VAR. I think that's what was shocking Arsenal fans. It was like, what? Excuse me? Why didn't they even look at that? I mean, it's just baffling. I think by then we'd just give up.
It's one of those weird ones, though, where you've seen it happen so many times.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get penalised. But when you now see it in slow motion, you're like, oh, hang on, that actually is a handball.
Yeah.
But you've seen it go so many times, you're just kind of like, that's all right.
It was the worst weekend for handballs, I must admit. There were some crazy decisions for the handballs.
It carried on into midweek. It carried on into midweek. Did you see the Doherty one on? I think it was the European clash. I mean, literally had his arm clamped to his side. He couldn't. There was none of this arm out in an unusual position. He got his arm was literally rigidly stuck to the side of his body, and they still gave a penalty. It's just
it's what Thierry Henry said. Thierry Henry said they used to kick the balls on and aim for the arms as strikers to try and get penalties. Now that's 100% now. Before it was 50-50 back in the day.
Can we actually listen to Thierry Henry when it comes to if he handballs, though?
Oh yeah, of course. No, he's telling it like it is.
The Irish side of me is getting really angry.
Yeah. He's telling it.
Yeah, remember that one.
Yeah, but listen, the Irish curse followed them into the World Cup, and they got their comeuppance. So let's not get it twisted.
Bit of karma. Yeah, bit of karma.
Yeah, it was karma. Yeah, the Irish obia. That voodoo, that whatever you call it down there in Ireland, followed them into the World Cup and burned them up, man. Oh Lord! So guys, that's it for this week. Thanks for everybody joining us. Ian, before you go, what game are you looking forward to next week?
Well, of course, I'm looking forward to West Ham carrying on their winning form away at Leicester. No, seriously. I mean, the big one this week has to be Leeds Man City. Bielsa going out against Guardiola, with his all-attack style. Man City have to make a statement after that result last week. It's going to be an absolute barn burner. Can't wait.
Tony, what are you looking forward to? I'm looking forward to Man United Tottenham on Sunday. What are you looking forward to, mate?
Yeah, I think both those two games, Man City Leeds and Man United Tottenham. I think they're the two. So I agree with both of you.
What about you, TC?
Yeah, I think Man City Leeds is going to be a special game. Actually, that's a must watch. Of course, for me, it's got to be Lakers versus the Heat tonight.
Yeah, I'm upside, bro. I'm staying up for that, man. Look, I got the pineapple rum here. Everybody knows.
Yeah,
everyone knows about this on this channel.
Yeah, but the Heat can't hold the Lakers.
We'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see.
It's gonna be 2-0. It's gonna be 2-0 for that. It's gonna be 2-0.
One game, at least one game, they're gonna chuck up 33s in a game. They're going to do that in one game. They're going to do that.
Yeah, they got that in their locker. Drew, what are you looking forward to this week? You looking forward to your game against Leeds?
I am looking forward to the Leeds game, and I am actually looking forward to the Lakers Heat tonight. But Duncan Robinson needs to get going tonight. So
yeah, if
this is going to be a close series, Duncan Robinson needs to nail at least 5.
Tyler Hero is the one.
Yeah.
He's got to play like he did Game 2 of the conference finals. Boston. He's got to take it to him.
Yeah.
I hear you, man.
I think AD is going to have a field day tonight.
He always does have a field day.
There ain't no centre in it. Is Adebayo actually going to be fit tonight, though?
Yeah, he should be okay.
He should be fit. Yeah. He was the big difference when playing the Joker in the last round against Denver. I mean, the Joker couldn't handle that pick and roll against Jamal, and the Joker just didn't work with AD in the middle. Lakers are too big for that, man. They got McGee, AD, they got LeBron. Yeah. There's too much bigs, man. Too much height.
Yeah,
I'm just going to go Lakers because there's not enough yellow and purple in this world.
For real, man. For real. All right, guys, that's it for this week, and can't wait. We've got an exciting setup of football matches to come this week. I want to thank my panel. Big shout out to Ian. Big shout out to Tony, TC, and Drew. Man City fans, West Ham and Liverpool in the house. And we'll be back next Friday, and hopefully with some good news. See you guys later, man.
Have a good week, guys.
Right, take care, guys.
Hey, guys.
See you later.